Hello everybody, Michael Cruz here, and today I wanted to talk about in my weekly newsletter, organizing SOPs with purpose. Right now, 2025, I've gone through this journey in my own company. I've been very focused on building my SOPs, and I'll explain why in a second. It's not just because of the sake of building SOPs. And I want to show you how we're using AI, the LMS that we have, the learning management system, and our written SOPs to be able to scale our team maybe in 2025 or maybe even 2026 and forward, and also like streamline training. I feel like it's so crucial, for every agency to have this. So let's jump into it. We're prioritizing SOPs in 2025 because, let's be honest, finding people is getting harder and harder. So we need to figure out a way to train faster and train smarter to compensate for maybe turnover, maybe it's getting people, onboarded quickly. Also in my own agency, we've been doing a 4-day work week since May 2024. We're about to hit a 1-year anniversary doing a 4-day work week. So we need to do more with less time. We have 4 days instead of 5 every single week. So also virtual, employees, when you onboard a virtual employee, with a virtual intelligence, if you have a virtual employee through us, it's imperative that you have clear training to help them, and onboard them confidently and quickly. I'm also going to talk about how we're going to use our AI and LMS to be able to, do this whole project. So what are we building? What exactly am I doing? Basically, right now I'm on this journey where I'm documenting every single thing we do in my agency, and we're doing it in an SOP format. And this is in writing, this is very crucial, and I'll explain why in a second. We're then taking those trainings and we're uploading into our LMS, and this is how we're gonna basically have the staff, take that information, and this is how we're gonna be able to test if they're retaining the information. We're also organizing all of these SOPs in our intranet. We have a Microsoft SharePoint where we're gonna house like the Word documents of these SOPs, and the reason why is because we have a AI powered chatbot that basically is going to allow us to retrieve that data simply by asking a question. So here's kind of a step-by-step process. We write the SOP, we take that SOP, we run it through ChatGPT, we ask it to create quiz. And one little tip here, when you tell it to create a quiz, make sure you ask for it to give you the right answer and explain why. We then take the SOP with the quiz, we upload it to the LMS. Our LMS is Drive It Space, is a new startup that I've been using for a while now. And then we basically take the SOP text and add it to our intranet in Microsoft, where we house all of our SOPs. So why are we prioritizing SOP? Why am I so obsessed with SOP in 2025? I've started doing this for many years, but really this year was like fully focused on getting this done. I like the writing because it's easier to update in a video. Also, the chatbot requires the text, instead of a video. It's a lot easier for the chatbot to go through the text. It's better for skimming for references, and it's a great foundation where you can simply send a quick link to an SOP. If you want to kind of mix both the written SOP and the video SOP, go ahead and use Loom. Loom has a feature to basically allow you to take screenshots now of the video and create a written SOP. So you'll be able to use both. We also use a chatbot. We've been using it for many months. And it's been a game changer, because before, when you build out this perfect SOP library, your team would have to remember where to find these, SOPs. So now with a simple, basically logging into our intranet, is on the home page. You basically ask the question, and the chatbot is going to answer in the same way that it would be in ChatGPT, and you'll be able to get instant answers. And the most cool thing about it is that it gives you a link to the actual, SOP, so you can reference it. And where I've landed in terms of how do you organize all of these things, Michael? This is a lot of information. Well, basically, I have an SOP and task breakdown by team. So that's kind of my general, here's my teams and here's what each team does. This is a high level kind of structure. And then I just have a master SOP running list where I basically just kind of add my wish list. And then the ones that are finished, we have a way to kind of track it there. So it's kind of a master SOP tracker, but then I have it also organized in a way where if you ever have a new employee, hey, what does each department do? Which that just happened when I hired my executive assistant. She was trying to help me delegate my emails and what tasks were assigned to what team. So that's when I realized, all right, I need basically an SOP per department so she knows who does what. So This helps because right now, this is going to help us build an agency operating system. Imagine like this perfect world, we have a fully documented business. This is going to speed up the onboarding. If I have a training for every department, every team, everything you're going to do in my agency is so much easier. I just have to fill in the gaps. When you shadow me, you already have like a solid foundation. There's clarity in terms of what each person does in the agency. There's reduced like tribal knowledge. Like when I had one of my new team members last year onboarded, she told me, Michael, I shadowed 3 people. I got 3 different processes, right? That's a problem. And you also build like a training culture, right? We need to build a culture that everybody follows the SOP. We have the Foresight way, not the so-and-so way, person's name. And remember, at the end of the day, with the SOPs, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. These are living and breathing things, which means that process changes, carriers changes. So they will change and they will evolve. So it's a never-ending process, and you want to have a culture where basically, everybody's helping updating these things. I do have one central person that basically manages this, but everybody has to contribute to this. So I hope you find this helpful. Let's build a modern agency together. If you know someone that is in the trenches like me, building an agency, please send them this video. And most importantly, have them join our waiting list, themichaelcruz.com, so they can get weekly insights like this. And also, when I'm ready to launch my modern agency course, you guys will be the first to get, the course right in your inboxes. Thank you so much.